Why does he make that terrible noise? Is it his child? And when he looked angrily out of the carriage window, he inquired about the child. Excuse me, Monzili Marquez. Marquez, it is. The tall man, his face twisted in agony, ran towards the carriage, shouting, "Killed!" and stood desperately staring at the Marquez, crying over and over, "Dead, dead, and dead." Now the dead child's father, he went over there. He was in great agony, in great pain, towards the carriage, and he was shouting, "Killed, and you, my child is dead. You have killed my son, and my child is dead now." The Marquis looked at them all as if they were rats. "Why can't you take better care of your children? One of them is always in the way. I hope my horse is not injured." Now see how he spoke the word. He was caring about the animal, what he has no feeling for the children here. So what he said here, why you don't take care of your children? You must take care of your children. Always they come in my way. And now worried about the condition of the horse. At that he threw a gold coin out of the window, which fell at the feet of the poor father, who was still crying, "Dead, dead, dead." A large man with heavy jaw and thick angry eyebrows took the father of the dead child into his arms. So rather than showing pity for the child, what he did there, he threw a gold coin at the father, and then, who was still crying, "Dead, dead, dead." And a large man, when he saw this, who had a heavy jaws and thick angry eyebrows, he took the father of the dead child into his arms. "Be a brave man, Gaspard. It's better for the poor thing to die in this way than live in these times. At least he died quickly." So poor thing, what is that? The child. What is that? The child. So he told him to have the patience, to be courageous, Gaspard. It's better that the poor child, he has died in this way rather than living the life of suffering. At least he died quickly. He lost from the suffering very easily here. "You are a philosopher, you there," smiled the Marquis. "What do they call you?" And now when Marquis listened about this, he also praised the way. Rather than thinking how the people they are suffering, he behaved opposite of that. "My name is Defarge." The Marquis tossed another coin at the feet of Defarge. "Here, take this, philosopher Defarge." With the air of a gentleman who had accidentally broken something common and paid the shopkeeper for it, he leant back into his seat. As they were about to leave, the same coin was thrown back into his carriage, landing at the feet of Marquis here, with the air of the gentleman who had accidentally broken something common and paid the shopkeeper. So now this was compared with the shopkeepers, okay, who had taken something and means by mistake something accidentally it was broken, and the paid the shopkeeper. Okay, father is compared here as a shopkeeper, and they paid back for that. As he leant back into, and when he went back into his seat, Defarge threw that gold coin back into the carriage there. "Hold the horses. Who threw that?" "Stop the horses. Who threw that?" The Marquis looked out of the carriage window at the spot where Defarge had been. So Marquis, he looked out of the carriage and he noted that Defarge was standing there. "The devil who threw this deserves to be crushed under my wheels." And now again he's threatening them. Who had thrown this one, he deserved to be crushed under my wheels. I am going to punish that. No one dared raise their eyes to the Marquis as they stood there silently, heads bowed. Only one person was very bold enough. Now the people, they could not dare in front of the Marquis. They could not speak who threw, and they could not revolt why the child was crushed under the wheel. Just they stood there silently, and one of the person was standing there very boldly. And what was done there? To look at him, it was Defarge's wife. These who stood knitting with the unwavering certainty of the fate. Her cold contempt went unnoticed by the noble insensitive face here. So it was Defarge's wife. Defarge also threw back the coin, and the wife also behaved in the same way. She did not bow her head before the Marquis, and she was standing there knitting with the unwavering certainty of the fate.